Hello and welcome to the weather update. It's about 8 o'clock on November 17th, 2019. And you're looking at a satellite image of the storm that is off the east coast right now. And you can see, look at all that convection going on, especially right over here. A lot of convection. Uh, if we go and we look at the lightning, you'll see that we have lots of lightning going on off the east coast right now, where this convection is. Again, unusual to see in November. You can clearly see, look at all that convection going on. Mute is probably having some stormy weather. So look at that. So yeah, lots of lightning going on in this area here, which again is very unusual to see, but we're seeing it because of the really warm waters in this area. We're talking about 5 degrees above normal, so that's why. Let's go to the weather service. Think of the current conditions outside and what advisories we have going on now. It's 40 degrees. It's quite raw out there. Um, you'll see that 39 at Farmingdale. Northeast winds gusting to 30 miles an hour. Northeast wind at 20, gusting to 30. So it is raw out there. Got some of these strong winds going on. Let's take a look at what's going on out east at Gabreski Airport. 40. Wind is not as bad there. Northeast at 17. Let's take a look at Jersey. Let's see what they have in Toms River. So 41 northeast wind at 15. So as you see here, you look at this, you will see we have a coastal flood warning in effect for the Jersey shore. Storm warnings and gale warnings up for the offshore waters. They have a coastal flood warning. We have a coastal flood advisory, mainly along the south shore. And if you look at the radar, you will see that we have a little bit of light. There was a little light flurry activity on and off, depending on where you are. And upstate, we have a winter weather advisory because there could be some snow as the moisture from the system moves in over our area. So let's take a closer look at this system here by looking at this, which is map of some observations here. So we're going to start off over here with this buoy here, and you can see it's 53 degrees, which is it's already much warmer over there. You can see how much warmer it is. So the warm air is offshore. 48 even at this buoy. So you can see we got warmer air that will be moving into our area probably tomorrow. But we have wind gust at this buoy over here to 40. We go a little further south. Let's look at some of these buoys here. I don't see the same wind gust that we saw yesterday. See wind gust to 38. That's because the storm is moving away. It's over here and it's away from any buoys really that are close to it. But it is over here, the storm. So if we go back to the satellite, you'll see this is the center of the storm right here. It's moving. Let me make this a little bit of a longer satellite loop. Let's make this 60, so you can see a little more. The storm. So you can clearly see that the storm is moving almost off to the east northeast here. All right, you can see it's starting to move away from the Carolinas. However, it's going to be starting a more northward turn, which means that we're going to be dealing with some more of the rain. So let's see if there's been any power outage impact from this storm here. All right, we do have 5,363 power outages in Virginia. So Virginia has, it's probably mostly the eastern part of the state where these power outages are. Yeah, this area, because again, it's mainly just in Norfolk, so it could just be one outage that could be causing that number to go up. But it could be weather related, maybe not, but it could be weather related. So let's go to Ventusky here. We'll take another look at this storm here. This is the temperature display, but it'll show you the circulation. Here it is. Here's the storm right here. There's the circulation right there. Look at that thing. Just look at that circulation. It almost looks like a tropical system. It really does. And it is warm core. You can see all around it is warm core. So that's why it makes it have tropical characteristics. So if we go and we look at the air pressure, let's see what the minimum pressure is in here. 29.4 inches. Okay. So that's pretty low. You can see the low pressure around this, and then the grade between that and the high that is over eastern New England is producing this flow here. All right. So if we look at the wind gusts, we'll just go right to the wind gusts here on Ventus Sky. Show you what's not tropical though is the wind field, because it doesn't go all around the eye, but you have it on both sides, or the center of the storm. So you have some gusts estimated at 53, but the worst gusts would be in this area here, where there are some wind gusts of 64, 66 miles an hour here. 65, 66 miles an hour. All right, and this whole elongated, it's almost like kind of elongated, the system here. You got gusts going all the way, but the worst gusts are away from our area, according to this. I'm curious to see, looking at the dew points, so we can also get an idea of the humidity as well. And you can see there's a lot of humid air. And look at this, dew points into the 70s over here. So there's a lot of humid air. Luckily, we won't have to deal with any of that. That does stay offshore. So let's go and we'll actually go to windy.com and look at this storm as well. And see here, this is again a look at the wind speed, and you will see here the gusty winds on this mainly north side of the system, where the winds are higher. And again, yes, these are sustained winds at 40 miles an hour, 38 miles an hour, and so forth. I want to look at the radar also from that area. So in fact, let me go look at these buoys again, because I want to see some information of the waves. 18 footers at this buoy here east of Virginia Beach. Let's take a look and see this buoy off the Jersey Shore. We have wave heights of 15.4 feet. So the waves are picking up, and that's why there are these coastal flood advisories, especially for the Jersey Shore, where you got wave heights 12.1. So there's going to be some flooding, coastal flooding here. I'm curious to see if it's been mentioned on Twitter at all, if there actually has been any flooding here out of Jersey. Let's see. I don't see any reports of flooding here. They do have a briefing package for it. I'm not going to go over that. We'll have to see. It's mainly tomorrow that the coastal flooding threat would be. Tonight into tomorrow, probably, with this storm that is going on. So let me move further south and see if we can look at the radar at all and see. The rains have probably moved offshore. Yeah, I don't see much on the radars down here. The rains have moved offshore. So fortunately, the flooding risk should subside now for eastern North Carolina and Virginia. So let's go back to windy.com. This is looking at the euro, and then we'll go to tropical tidbits. We'll start off here first. So let's go to tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. And you see, fortunately, the storm right now stays, the worst of it stays away from us. This is the worst part right here. All right. 11 a.m. Let's go to 4 p.m. So, however, like I said, we're spared. However, the Cape is going to get into the worst part. So the Cape and maybe parts of the East End could get into these higher winds. And these, again, are winds sustained at 32 miles an hour. And then it pulls away. So let's go back to tonight. We'll go back and look at we'll put this in the wind gusts mode. So again, that purple area is where the worst part is. So this is around 11 p.m. tonight. You can see this whole purple area here. So the Virginia Beach is still getting pounded, obviously, and some of these high wind gusts may be starting to make their way into the Jersey Shore. So let's take a look and see what the wind gusts are at the Jersey Shore. 39. All right, that's not too bad. I said we're fortunate that the worst part, or 40 mile an hour gusts, the worst part, which is this purple area here. Because if you go into this purple area, you'll see wind gusts are 40, 49, 55, and then some 63 mile an hour gusts, and maybe even higher than that, 65 mile an hour gusts in this area here. So we move this along to 5 a.m. And you can see, again, the worst part stays away from us, and we're very fortunate for that. Again, this is one hell of a storm here, and like I said, it's got some tropical characteristics to it, in my opinion, even if no one else brings it up. It's not a tropical storm, but it's an extratropical coastal storm with some tropical characteristics to it. If we go and we look at noon tomorrow, you will see that the higher winds get probably they make their closest approach to Long Island. However, like I said, the offshore waters we're only seeing wind gusts of 34. But if you go off Montauk Point, it's a little worse there, wind gusts to 44, and the Cape probably worse still, 45, and it's going to get worse over there. So if we move this along to 6 p.m., you will see that purple area impact the Cape, and that's where they could see wind gusts over 50 miles an hour likely along the Cape. But we now have a north wind as we go into 6 p.m., which is a little more of an offshore wind. Doesn't help New Jersey quite as much as it does help us. And then 9 p.m., it's pulling away. So that's the good. This is what the euro looks like. All right. So let's look at the waves situation, because that's the other issue, is the surf. So if we go off the south shore here, 12 footers. This is tonight. We go to 2 a.m. You can see it's still 12 foot, but you can see that red area. This bright red area here is the worst part of the waves. And like I said, fortunately, it's staying away from our area. 6 a.m., we start seeing wave heights increase to 13 foot. So it's the highest risk is going to be tomorrow morning, probably. The wave height's still 12 feet, 6 p.m. And I think by the evening it starts to subside. However, like I said, the Cape is going to get it worse. So 15 feet at the Cape. So Cape Cod is going to get hit hard again. And because it juts out over here like this, and it's closer to the storm center. So, and then it starts subsiding by Tuesday. So we'll go ahead now, look at the rain, and we're going to go, because we're going to see some rain spread into our area probably. So let's go 5 a.m. here. Start to see a little bit of that light rain. Worst of the rain is over the water. It's probably going to stay there throughout the duration of the storm. I think the worst of the rain stays over the water. It's more or less dry. We're just dealing with some light rain. However, if you go upstate, where it's colder, there could be some light snow. So here we go. Probably the best chance of precipitation is probably going to be Monday night to Tuesday morning. You can see, look at that, some snow over Connecticut possible. So let's see how much snow the Euro is saying is going to fall. All right, so next 3 days, if you go up into interior Connecticut, maybe 2.7 inches. They're going to have a snowfall upstate. Albany, you could see 3.6 inches. So if we go upstate, that's why the winter weather advisory is there for that area. So now let's go look at the models and take a look at the GFS at our storm. Here it is. Has as a 997 millibar low. And you can see here it stays offshore. And the worst of the rain also stays offshore. The worst of it stays offshore. We're very fortunate again for that track for us that we had that high, this high right here, to suppress this storm from coming up the coast. And luckily the high was in the right spot to do that. And there isn't a pathway for this storm to recurve and slam our area like with what happened with Sandy. So the storm stays offshore, but we could start to see again some of that light rain Monday afternoon into Monday night, and maybe a little more even steadier rain as we head overnight, way late Monday night into Tuesday morning, and that's when they could see some of the snow upstate. That moves away. It looks like then there's another low that forms on this, but again, it's far out to sea. Doesn't affect our area. And then we have a high pressure trying to build in by Wednesday. Look at that. Wow, GFS really wraps that up. I'd like to see that go a little further east. Let me change the region a little bit. That thing really wraps it up. Let's see if we can, North Atlantic. Yeah, it really wraps it up over here. That's interesting. Wow, that really does wrap it up. Look at that. So, but it looks like that would be more of an issue for Nova Scotia than us, fortunately. So let me go back to the CONUS view. Actually, let's go back to our regional view. So, again, we'll take a closer look at what the GFS has in store for us. So again, is that low going by? And you'll see we get some rain out of it. Let's see how much rain the GFS thinks we're going to see. Total accumulated precip. Not all that much. Probably over Long Island, maybe a quarter of an inch of rain. But if you go further north into the east, you could see closer to a half an inch of rain. up here, and or snow. So we're going to look now at how much snowfall the GFS says is going to fall. So again, it's all confined to upstate, and it won't be all that much. You'll have to go way up there to see 5+ inches. If you're in Maine, however, interior Maine, GFS says you're going to see a lot of snow. So now it's time to look at some other models in regards to the storm. And we're going to go look at the NAM. We'll look at the NAM 12 kilometers. So this is the NAM as far as the snowfall goes. That is the snowfall a little closer, and I'm more inclined to agree with this. That, like I said, these interior areas here in extreme northwest Connecticut, in western Massachusetts, going and along the this part of New York into Pennsylvania, you could see 3 inches of snow. Won't be a tremendous snowfall. The higher amounts are going to be reserved again up here and way up into interior Maine and into Nova Scotia. So actually, no, it's not Nova Scotia. It's some part of Canada. I remember Newfoundland, I believe. So let's go back to this so you can visualize this NAM on the NAM. So again, here's the system here, and you can see very deep system, but the worst of it stays offshore, fortunately. And the NAM keeps us dry, more or less, throughout much of Monday. It's not until probably very late Monday night to Tuesday morning that we see this area of precipitation develop. And again, in interior, it'll be some snow, perhaps, but it won't be very, like I said, it won't be that much. This isn't going to be a big snowmaker, but we could get a good steady rain, at least for a couple hours, and then that tapers off by Tuesday afternoon. So let's see how much total accumulated as far as total rainfall goes here. And this dam is a little wetter now. NAM's a lot wetter, actually. No surprise. So it actually has the overnight being quite a steady rain, and we could see 3/4 to an inch of rainfall in this area right here, going from the northern half of New Jersey into the Hudson Valley. So again, the possibility is there for a good steady rain tomorrow night. Whether that actually materializes or not, it's really hard to tell. It really is hard to tell. So let's go back to the GFS, and we'll go ahead and look at the temperatures and see where our temperatures will be going throughout this week into next weekend. And again, this is the GFS temperature forecast. So let me move this back to tomorrow. So we still stay on the cold side, and that's why any precipitation that falls, especially upstate, could be of the frozen variety, but I really don't think we're going to see it here. So this is because we got that northeast to north flow. It keeps the cold air in, so it's not going to warm up at all. This disgusting tropical air, fortunately, stays well away from our area. For Tuesday, we recover a little bit. We recover significantly. I would say upper 40s to around 50. So it does warm up a little bit. Wednesday, we did have that out of the cold front move through, so we drop back below normal, low and middle 40s. And same for Thursday, maybe recovering a little bit in the mid 40s. Fridays, when we warm up a little bit, we have a cold front approaching. We have some warm air moving up ahead of it. So highs could reach close to 60 degrees in New Jersey and mid 50s on Long Island. Then that front comes through, and we're back down into the low and middle 40s for Saturday. And Sunday, too, mid 40s. And Monday. So again, we still stay consistently below normal here. You can see as we go into next week, we have it only gets warmer ahead of the cold front, and that is very short-lived, and then it gets cold again. So we'll also just for entertainment purposes look at the dew points again, because there's some really humid air in this tropical system here, like I said, or this coastal system. Really humid air. It's called because it does have some tropical characteristics. But fortunately, we don't see any of that, and we dry air, dew points mainly in the 30s, maybe some 20s on Thursday, and maybe we could see dew points get close to 50 or maybe a little bit above 50 ahead of that cold front. But then that cold front comes through for the weekend. We get back into the dry air. So let me go look at the clouds. That'll be the next thing we're going to look at. So plenty of clouds, obviously, tomorrow and Tuesday as well. Tons of clouds. And unfortunately, Wednesday, too, there's going to be a lot of clouds around. We may have a break in the clouds Thursday, but it's just a break. Hopefully, we can keep it clear at least most of the day so we can have some sunshine. But then more clouds come into the picture Friday. And hopefully, maybe we can get this front offshore enough so we can have some clear skies later, maybe later Saturday, but more likely on Sunday, have some clearer skies, and maybe Monday too. But it's going to be a lot of clouds around, so hopefully you made the most of that beautiful 2 sunny days in a row we had, both Friday and Saturday. We're lucky to have that. Let me look at the NAM as far as the clouds go. So there's a NAM here. We'll see if the NAM is any, but it really doesn't go that far off. We know we're going to have lots of clouds for tomorrow and Tuesday. Maybe a couple of breaks of sun maybe by Tuesday afternoon. This only goes up to 060 Wednesday. So I guess with that, we will wrap up this weather update. Again, fortunately, the worst of the storm stays away from us. So we're very fortunate. Could have been a lot worse. Got lucky again. One day our luck will run out, but we got lucky again. So with that, that does wrap up this weather update. Again, it could be a rainy night late tomorrow. That's going to be the main impact from the storm. Rain, that, some coastal flooding, mainly along the South Shore. I think the Jersey Shore is going to get worse because the northeast wind goes more into their shore than it does to us. And some rain tomorrow night, late tomorrow night into Tuesday morning, and that will probably be it. And then we'll just deal with lots of clouds and hopefully maybe some sunshine. Best chance for the best day of the week right now looks like Thursday. So with that, that wraps up this weather update. Take care. Thank you for watching.